Watch what happens at this red light. In the front car, Peter is drumming the wheel of a leased German sedan. He is wearing a $1,000 watch and carrying a $900 monthly payment he keeps strictly to himself. 4 cars back, Laura is sipping from a dented thermos in a 2014 Camry with nearly 200,000 miles on the odometer and a coffee stain on the seat that has outlasted her last 2 phones. Your brain processes this scene in a fraction of a second. It files Peter as the success and Laura as the one struggling to get by. But these appearances hide a volatile reality. Peter's lifestyle is a single bad month away from total collapse, while Laura's decision to keep her old car and skip the status symbols has quietly built her a net worth higher than that of many medical professionals. We have all agreed to believe a visual language of wealth that has no basis in actual data. When researchers actually surveyed thousands of American millionaires, they found a reality that most people find embarrassing. The typical millionaire drives the same vehicle as a grocery store manager and wears a watch you could find at a department store. The most common car brand among the wealthy was Toyota. Data from Goldman Sachs further complicates the picture. This 41% slice of the pie represents households earning between $300,000 and $500,000 a year, living paycheck to paycheck. High-income earners frequently outspend the middle class to maintain an image. That luxury badge on the hood usually signals a massive monthly payment attached to an otherwise normal income. This cycle is driven by lifestyle creep. It starts with a single nice upgrade, perhaps a promotion or a new car, that suddenly makes your current apartment or furniture look shabby by comparison. This realization triggers a cascade of spending. To make the home match the car, you replace the furniture, then the wardrobe, and eventually the apartment itself, quietly resetting your definition of normal to a much more expensive baseline. This line graph shows the spike in joy that follows a new purchase, but through a process called hedonic adaptation, your brain quickly treats the new item as the new zero. Within weeks, the dream kitchen or the sports car is just a baseline reality. To recapture that initial spike, you are forced to keep spending more just to maintain the same emotional state. You end up on an accelerating treadmill, working harder to buy things that no longer provide a measurable return in happiness. Car dealerships have mastered the art of selling a monthly payment rather than a total price. By focusing your attention on a manageable number every 30 days, they can obscure the high cost of the vehicle itself. To make these high prices feel survivable, lenders now offer loans stretched across 84 months. This locks you into a financial obligation for 7 years, nearly a decade of payments for a single depreciating asset. Because vehicles lose value so quickly, many buyers end up with negative equity, owing more than the car is actually worth. When they trade it in, that debt doesn't disappear. It gets rolled into the next loan, adding thousands to the price of the new car. Millions of people are currently paying hundreds of dollars a month to finance debt on cars they no longer own, just to drive a new vehicle they cannot afford. The pressure to spend often comes from the driveway next door. A Federal Reserve study analyzed neighborhoods where a single resident won the lottery to see how it affected the people living around them. They found that a larger lottery prize next door measurably increased the odds that the neighbors would file for bankruptcy. These neighbors weren't going broke on invisible investments like stocks. They were buying visible status symbols, cars, boats, and motorcycles, specifically to keep pace with the winner's new lifestyle. This social competition is a recipe for ruin. There is no finish line in the race to look wealthy, because someone will always pull up in the next lane with something shinier. Compare Peter's situation to the math of Laura's Camry. If you take an average $700 monthly car payment and place it into a basic index fund instead of a loan, the long-term financial results are staggering. Over 30 years of normal returns, that redirected payment grows to approximately $850,000. This second curve shows what happens if you wait just 5 years. That delay creates a $300,000 shortfall because you lost the compounding power of early dollars. Building wealth in your 20s relies less on picking a perfect fund and more on the unglamorous habit of simply not spending the money in the first place. We have to acknowledge that looking poor by choice is a luxury of the secure. For those without a safety net, being poor in America is incredibly expensive. This is the poverty premium, A wealthy buyer might pay 5% interest on a loan, while someone with poor credit is charged 20% for the exact same vehicle. Our financial systems charge the highest prices to the people who have the least to spare, simply because they appear to be a higher risk. The most successful people often avoid the rich costume because it is a poor investment. Warren Buffett still lives in his 1950s house and eats a $3 breakfast because he has nothing left to prove to strangers. While Peter spends the next decade managing a mountain of car debt, Laura's savings will give her the power to turn down high-stress promotions or walk away from a job she no longer enjoys. Money serves its highest purpose when it buys the freedom to say no. Give yourself permission to drive the boring car and let people underestimate you. Trade their fleeting applause for a peaceful night's sleep.